Warning, MF Uncensored contains adult language and discussion. Listener discretion is advised.
We're a couple of misfits. We're a couple of misfits. What's the matter with misfits? That's where we fit in. We're not Duffy and Dilly. Don't go around willy-nilly. Seems to us kind of silly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you find links to not only this show, but some of our other shows like Cinematic Adventures or the Multiverse Fancast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul. With me in the studio is Sean. Sean, how are you today?
I'm in the studio. That's awesome.
I just said that, so tell everybody how you are instead. Jesus.
I am great, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. See, that's how that conversation oh my God. Be professional, Sean.
Too late.
That's fair. And also, via the Zoom studio, our dear person we know, our good friend Brendan from Blind Bat 8719, No Eyes in Blind Bat, the Magic the Gathering exclusive YouTube channel. Brendan, I said twice. Brendan, how are you today?
Well done, sir.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. This is awesome.
Nailed it. But this is like your third time on MF Uncensored.
Yeah, I'm slowly making the rounds. I've been to all the podcast stations so far, so that's pretty cool. And maybe at some point I'll discuss the ideas of maybe starting my own at some point and adding more things to do to my already crazy life. Sure.
Hey, you know some guys who would be able to help you out with that.
I know. I might piss one of them off though with my plan though, because it's supposed to be in defensive animation, so it'd be like an anime podcast.
So do an anime podcast. Who are you going to be pissing off?
Oh, well, I still have my tirade about against Ronnie that I need to record for you at some point about animation being
The
just
superior
as good, if not
medium.
better than live action at some point.
I will disagree with you on that one. But anyway, so... But yeah, we're excited. This is going to be an interesting one. So for those of you guys who are not aware, it is the month of May. And May is traditionally recognized as a celebration of Star Wars. For those of you guys who aren't sure, May 4th is traditionally recognized as International Star Wars Day. So on Cinematic Adventures, we started our annual Star Wars month, which is in full swing. So make sure you guys check that out. But we wanted to bring a little bit of uncensored fun to Star Wars because Star Wars is one of the most debated and discussed franchises in history. It is also one of the most toxic fandoms you'll ever meet. Where everybody's just kind of mad all the time. And I'll be honest.
You're mad just to be mad.
No, there's legitimate gripes sometimes.
Is there, though? It's
I mean,
a
if you want to
movie.
hear some legitimate griping and one, I just listened to our last episode that we just did on episode 7. Wait, I lost track when it was episode 7 where I have like, what, a 20-minute rant or something like that? I mean, not 20 minutes, but it felt like 20-minute rant.
It is.
No, Brendan did go on a nice little rant. That was fun.
It's the most I've heard him talk consecutively
No.
without taking a breath.
I'm still getting used to this podcast thing.
You haven't even started the podcast yet. You got to start your own first, then you get used to the podcast thing. What would be the name of your podcast?
I was gonna do something along the lines, something make ABC work or something like that. It's like, like anime, Brendan, and cartoons or something like that.
I think it should be like, you know how you have Blind Bat with no eyes?
Yeah.
It should be Wieners with no eyes. Wieners. Yeah, you're welcome, everyone. Grade A humor coming at you guys tonight. Sean's rolling his eyes so hard. I actually thought he fainted for a second.
Maybe I'll call it Gundams and Guy Mellis.
I don't know what that second word was. But
It is it's the mech for an obscure anime from 1997 or something like that I fell in love with.
well, you know what? When you start a podcast, we'll work on a T-shirt for you. Don't worry, I got you.
I have some ideas for you guys as well at some point.
We are actually revamping some of the shirts, so I have an idea
I'll
for
get my
cinematic.
sketches into you then sooner than later.
Yeah, do it. Let us know. Yeah, we have an idea for cinematic. I have an idea for cinematic adventures.
You haven't shared that idea with me.
Well, I was vetoed on one of them by producer Melanie. It was supposed to be just 2 film rolls, like on somebody's chest, and they look like boobies.
Yep.
Vetoed hard, really quickly.
Let me know if my
I
head
get
smack
that.
actually made the recording.
What was that?
His head smack made the recording.
Oh, I hope so. But no, I do have a legitimate one that I thought was pretty cool. We're trying to figure out a one for a multiverse, though, because we want to put like some phrases on it and stuff like that. And we don't have a fun tagline for multiverse yet. Yeah, so
DC is awesome.
DC's better. Yeah, we'll go with that. Not a single T-shirt was sold. So weird. So strange. But
you have to add the word animation to that sentence. DC animation is better.
I'm sorry, Brendan. Your Zoom is really cutting out. What did you say? I couldn't quite. But no. So let's get back on topic. Even though this is the show that kind of talks about everything, and yet people still come back. By the way, 10,000 downloads on MF Uncensored.
Wow.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, we cracked 10,000 downloads. It is the most downloaded show in the network, and it's one of the younger shows. I think this show and Cinematic started around the same time. Cinematic started first.
Cinematic started first. It took
Cinematic,
us a
yeah,
while.
no, this is
It took us
a
a
lot
while to
newer,
start
yeah.
doing MF. It
Yeah,
took us possibly a year.
Well, let's not forget MF. I did like 42 interviews first,
Oh,
and
RHU
then we
special. God,
you did the Larry Hankin one,
I did.
and then you did the James Bond guy.
I did.
So
I'm just saying, aren't you special? That's all I was asking.
I work really hard.
No one's denying that.
I try my
am.
best. You're such an asshole.
you got to have some business cards printed up so this way when we go to Comic-Con this year, you can just start handing them out to people for interviews.
A lot of people just do the square photos, like the scan photos. A lot of people just do that.
I don't have any with me right now, but I actually made business cards to hand out that had the QR code.
The
on
QR
the
code.
back
Thank
so
you.
They could find my link.
Brendan, real quick, I forgot to ask you this on Cinematic, but did you watch the Power Rangers special on Netflix?
I meant to. I haven't yet.
Okay.
I bought Netflix just so I could watch it.
Let
that's
me
on the
know.
Oh,
agenda.
waste of money.
Don't give it.
No. Are you saying Netflix is a waste of money? My wife is thoroughly happy with watching all of like Working Moms or whatever other shows she's been rewatching all over again. So
No, if you bought Netflix just for the Power Rangers special, I'm sorry.
that's
What?
why I'm trying to finish a new anime at the same time. So this
There
way
you
I
go.
kind of made it work.
Let us know your thoughts after you watch it. I'm curious what you
I
think.
will do that, and then also that just a tangent with that. Like a little reason I'm looking forward was like, oh wait, 7 Years with Tibet, some other old movies that I've been wanting to see that I haven't been able to find anywhere else. Thank you, Netflix.
Apparently, Netflix is getting 3 DC shows. They're getting both Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and I think The Batman.
Oh, okay.
Which is weird considering like HBO Max is about to turn into Max.
Yeah, it comes out.
which I need to
tomorrow.
get that at some point so I can watch Studio Ghibli stuff and some film noir things.
I hope that still you get that with your HBO subscription.
What?
The
Give-
Max. Or
Yeah,
is it-
yeah,
it
it's
is.
still it's all
It's
the
the same thing. It's just
Yeah.
changing its name to the Max.
And you're getting all the Discovery stuff.
That's-
So now I can watch all like my Ghost Hunter stuff and Destination Truth and all that
Look
stuff.
at that, look
yeah.
at that.
So
Nice.
yeah, that's weird. We did an episode where we talked about the best streaming services.
We did.
Yeah, and
We did?
I think we established that HBO Max was our
I think we established HBO Max had the biggest catalog
and
of just stuff.
I was watching Peacock the other day because I had a Brooklyn Nine-Nine craving, and I thought it was on Hulu, but I guess they moved it straight to Peacock.
Because it's NBC now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have a paid Peacock, so I have to. I said what I said, Sean. Grow up. I'm still using your Paramount Plus.
Good. I'm glad.
We need to really like all sit down and be like, here are the services we have. How do
Well,
we? Except for Netflix, apparently.
Netflix, you're not gonna be able to do that. So,
So dumb. Did you
they
see,
haven't done it yet, though.
Did you see the tweet that came back about that, where it was like from years ago? It was like real friends share passwords.
Yeah.
And I think somebody commented on it, like an HBO Max or something like that. Was like, this hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
But let's get into our actual discussion because it could go several ways. Now, Sean, in his due diligence, not only did he get news from one of our other shows, we were really proud of him on that one. That was big. But usually,
I do good work.
I did good. I have a mole, but anyway.
I do good, Paul?
I do. You
I do good?
You did good.
I do good.
I did good.
That'll
I
do,
did good.
pig. That'll do.
Wow. Weird references coming out today. But so in his due diligence for doing his research for Cinematic, he also came across a topic that he thought would be a lot of fun for this show. And Sean, why don't you tell everybody what today's Star Wars themed topic is
Well,
going to
as you said, Paul, we were interested. We were the initial question comes down from Paul. Hey, you want to do MF Uncensored? I was like, sure. What do you have in mind? He goes, I have no ideas.
I do the interviews. I don't do much else.
That's fair, and I fully get that. And I was like, why don't we try and tie it into Star Wars Month? And he goes, okay, think of some topics. So, okay. I walk into the studio today, and I'm like, hey, how about this? And he goes, I like it. Let's do it. I'm like, all right. So, Brendan, Paul,
Yes.
we are going to do the 7 topics that Star Wars fans love to debate.
All right.
Now, I have not shared this with either of them,
per my request.
but I'm going to say these are not topics that are going to shock you. I can't imagine that. So my goal is I will name the topic. I will let you guys, vent a little. We'll discuss what we feel about it, and we'll go from there. So number 1, Han and Greedo. Paul,
This is not a debate.
Go ahead.
Han shot first.
there you go.
Han shot first, and then changing it in post, or changing it for the re-release was dumb, and then acknowledging that change in Solo: A Star Wars Story was pandering.
I don't see. It's been forever since we saw Solo, so I don't remember.
So in the last shot of Solo, he shoots Woody Harrelson before Woody Harrelson could shoot him, and they make a joke about shooting first. And
that's dumb.
There was nothing worse than seeing Han Solo do that janky move. It's even worse than when he steps on Jabba's tail.
Yes, that is why I hate watching the re-releases of the original trilogy.
When we talked about the re-releases for cinematic, we did mention like the overall like the scaling shots and the environment shots were fine. Putting in like more shots of Cloud City and more shots of Tatooine.
It's the stuff that's up close to the actors.
It's the stuff that changes the story.
Well, that too.
That
That's
changes.
obvious.
It changes Han Solo's character.
Well,
in that
I
scene.
agree with that. That I'm saying, but it's also the stuff where it's like these things that were not there and are now there, right close to where the actors are performing. It just doesn't.
The technology was not there.
It wasn't there. It was there,
and I think also too. Sorry, I think
go
also,
ahead. No,
too,
go ahead.
When Spielberg went back to do Lucas went back to do those things, he forgot about the rule of two things. One, your limitations sometimes make a better movie because look at, Spielberg with Jaws, the thing wouldn't work and the movie's a lot better for it. So I think not seeing Jabba the Hutt till the third movie was a lot cooler than, oh, that's what this thing is? Because you had no idea, a little bit of the mystery. So that's great. So restrictions breed creativity and less is more.
Yeah.
So those are the tiny tight, but those were better.
So, and I think I've asked this question before. Can you get the original trilogy without?
It's almost impossible.
It is. Okay, I'm not crazy.
They are not releasing the original trilogy.
I'm sorry. I gotta find my dad's VHS copies that we got from back in the day and so we can digitize them.
That is a smart idea, and you could sell those. You'd make some boo-goo bucks for that. I'd pay you. I'd be like, hey, I'll take that. All right. Topic number 2, the Midichlorians.
Oh, yeah. The Star Wars fans did not like the Midichlorians.
So, obviously, for all you Star Wars fans out there, the Midichlorians were introduced into the Star Wars canon in The Phantom Menace, but there was no mention of them in the original trilogy. Was that an issue? Did it bother you? What was that like for you?
I'm actually strangely of mixed minds about it. So I don't think they explained the midichlorians well in this.
In Phantom Menace. It just comes up out of nowhere.
The problem is they wanted a way to quantify how powerful Anakin Skywalker was. And they went with the tell don't show rule, where instead of they just exposited it and gave it a scientific reason. I have no problem with the Jedi at their peak being like, hey, we know things that, obviously Luke Skywalker doesn't know. How would Luke Skywalker even know any of that stuff?
Yeah.
So I get that there was going to be points where, like, in the prequel trilogy where they're like, we know things that, the sequel trilogy would never know because there's nobody there to tell him. But the midichlorians were just a way to tell how powerful Anakin was, when in all honesty, they should have just shown how powerful he was. So I don't have a problem with it per se. It doesn't change, because like the Force is still the Force, but the Force was cooler when it was just a universal thing that didn't need an explanation. It was just like the magic thing in this universe. What about you, Brendan?
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I think I'm not sure if they talk about souls or not, but like I always got the idea the Force is kind of like tapping into like the idea of chi or something about there's energy with everybody, and I think that's a concept that anybody would get behind. That not that you didn't need to come up with a biological reason like, oh, why some people can only do it so well. Like some people are gifted, and again, if you give the idea that like we're dealing with galaxies, so how many people are in a galaxy? So yeah, you might see 30 Jedi together, but they had to go across billions of light years to find 30 Jedi. So I think so the idea that some people are more tuned to nature or doing that stuff or can train better. I like more the idea that anybody can do it if you practice. And I think having an ethereal thing like the Force and not having a biological reason why sounds cooler.
I also think that like having the Force choose who's able to access it and giving it like a sentience almost made it a more powerful thing. And
do they even mention midichlorians with Rey?
No, they dropped that out.
They dropped that.
They stayed away from that.
Yeah,
they stayed far away from that.
I feel like this is Lucas just kind of being too just overthinking it.
Mm.
He's returning to this series, in '99, and it's like, what can I do that's different from the original 3? It's like, oh, let's come up with a biological reason how these guys have the Force and stuff like that. And it just.
And that was the thing about
Doesn't
Star
work.
Wars. Star Wars is a great way of, here's the science part of it, like Han Solo. Han Solo's like on the science side. Nothing like a good blaster. Ancient religions and all this stuff, not.
Yeah.
And then there was the mysticism side, and it's almost like he tried to combine them, and just, it didn't work. The Jedi were cool.
Midichlorians were introduced in the Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace.
And that that leads more to your point I see now about how to explain why Anakin's so special, because he's not force trained. So you can't have him lift 2 X-Wings out of the swamp to show that he's more powerful, because he's an 11-year-old boy.
And they just, again, they were like, oh, you could pod race? That's really cool. Do more like that. Like, show him really doing something incredible. And, we got, like, even things like moving around him without him realizing. Like, he walks by like a droid, and then something in the background moves. Just like as he's doing something else. Like, stuff like that. Again, there's show, and then there's tell in movies. And sometimes for something like this, showing would have been way better than just finding an explanation.
All right. I'm liking it so far. All right, topic number 3. The Ewoks. Are they cute and furry teddy bear-like creatures, or are they vicious carnivores?
They ate people.
They're cute. And I liked them as a kid. They're they're cute. I love these guys. These are awesome, and they're on my side. So I don't care that we're beating up on stuff.
They were playing drums on dead stormtroopers' helmets.
Well, they were just helmets.
You don't know if the
what
head
they
was
did.
inside.
They were inside.
The helmet could have just fallen off.
It didn't sound hollow at all.
But they also tried to roast Chewbacca and Han and Luke
They were
over an
gonna
open
eat
fire.
all of them, and they were like, "Nah, Leia gave me a cracker. She's cool." What?
But seriously though, what is the hatred of the Ewoks? I don't get it.
I think the hatred of the Ewoks was it was a shift to very childish almost, and they were definitely an attempt to sell toys,
Which is fine. I mean, like,
merchandising.
I never understood the hatred of the Ewoks.
Also, like,
They worked in the story. They
but
made
it's also
sense.
weird because, like, stormtroopers in the first movie were deemed as like something to be scared of. Like, they talk about, stormtroopers killed all those Jawas, and they talk about like how, like, even Obi-Wan's like, only a stormtrooper could aim that well, which is ironic. I know, so ironic.
Yeah.
But like this army, and I have no problem with like the whole idea of like the indigenous people rising up and defeating the army. Like that's an old trope. It's been around forever. But for me, like, to have the Ewoks who are throwing rocks at giant metal robots, how did they have time to build those traps? How did they have time to rig up 2 giant logs that were? And I had the toys. Like, I had like the micro machines thing of that, and like it was the coolest thing. And you could like set it up so that it did it. But I was like, why do they have a hang glider? What is happening on this planet that they were like, yo, we need one of these right now?
Well, they had Luke, man. Well, no, they didn't. Luke was gone by then.
So for me, like, the Ewoks were, I don't really, and I love Return of the Jedi. It's my favorite Star Wars.
Let's also establish that they were supposed to be Wookiees.
Yes, and they couldn't afford it.
They couldn't afford it. They couldn't find enough, giant men to play the Wookiees. So that's why
I hate when I have that problem.
cut them in half and made them Ewoks.
They
So
found more tiny people?
I think that's also an aspect of it, is that they were
1000%.
supposed to be Wookiees and all that stuff. But
And that changes it a lot. 'Cause again, I feel like you're saying like, but making it more cute and cuddly, and it does change the vibe a little bit. And I feel like it has something to do maybe like when I think of them, I kind of think like the feel of like the Goonies or some other like 80s vibe, like Gremlins. Like, oh, Gremlins did good. Let's do the. I'm not sure when Gremlins came out. I'm trying to figure that out, but that's kind of what it is. Oh, let's take these little. It's the vibe. It's the thing to do is throw a bunch of cute, cuddly things into your film.
It also changes because the Empire's dark. Empire ends on a very dark and sour note. The whole film is a little bit darker, and then to suddenly tone shift so hard the other way, it's a little jarring. Again, Return of the Jedi is still my favorite Star Wars. There's still so much good in it, but the Ewoks were a bit much. But I still I loved Wicked, and I hate how they changed the song in the remakes.
oh, I know, yes.
Yub Nub for life, man. Yub Nub. Oh God, it's still
What they change it to?
Some
some
like weird.
no words, no nothing. It's just like
It's It's just some
Oh,
orchestral
I guess they didn't want
sound.
to be insulting to some people. Then I guess.
Nope.
Okay.
It was just dumb.
agree.
Go to number 4. Number 3. I don't even know what we're on.
We're on number 4, and Paul actually hit on it as he was talking earlier. The Stormtroopers' combat skills.
Oh my god.
So, as Obi-Wan says in A New Hope, only Imperial Stormtroopers are so precise. Well, not really.
They hit the Jawas and that was it. They didn't hit
Jawas was the one time where it's like, damn, they are good, and they just killed these things. And after that,
Actually, ironically enough, they're even better when they're in spaceships. They kill a lot of rebels.
that's true.
The Stormtroopers were never, they were never shown as an actual threat.
No.
Han Solo runs away from 500. That's actually one of the only other scenes that they add in the remakes that I really like, when they added just so many more Stormtroopers in that room. But, he's, running away and nothing happens to him. And you
No.
could argue the Force. I'll argue the Force was protecting Han Solo. But, yeah. The Stormtroopers became bumbling. Well, scratch it. In the beginning of Empire, they do get through the Rebel base.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, by the time Return of the Jedi,
I would think. I feel like the thing about the Stormtroopers having terrible aim. I feel like that is just the fandom overanalyzing everything and then realizing it and making a joke, and that's why it's funny now. But I would like to think that first time you see A New Hope, you're like, oh god, these guys are scary. I can get shot, and it's only after 10 rewatches where you're like, they can't hit anything worth a dime.
A New Hope though, when they stormed the ship in the beginning, the Tantive 5, that's actually they kill
It's a
all
great
of them.
scene.
It's a
Yeah,
great scene.
pretty much almost all of them get killed.
Yeah, they were unintentionally made bumbling.
It's like the Putty Patrol.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God.
what it is.
The putty
Because you
patrols.
can't have them shoot your stars and get and not because you're saying that these things will kill you. If you get hit with a blaster, you can't have that happen.
Unless
to
you're a
you.
main character, then it just hurts. How many? Leia ends. I think Leia gets shot by a stormtrooper at one
Luke
point.
gets shot in the hand.
Luke
No,
gets
that's
shot-
not by. That's
But
not
still,
by,
same thing though. He
Yeah.
still gets shot by a laser blast.
What was there? So I remember it was just because somebody had this good point. I thought it was great. It was when Han finally gets to try the blaster, the crossbow blaster.
I
and he
like
just
this
takes somebody's out. This is really good, Chewie.
Yeah.
And then they point out afterwards that when Chewie shoots
Kylo Ren.
Kylo, that tells you how strong Kylo is because he took out everybody else he fired with
Something
that thing.
flying. All right, what's the next one?
All right, we're on number 5, and we are at the viewing order of the Star Wars films.
Ooh, that's a great one.
So what are the Star Wars?
The viewing order.
So if you were to show
Oh.
someone who's never seen a single Star Wars movie for the first time, do you start with Episode 1, or do you start with Episode 4 and do the original trilogy, followed by the prequel, and then the sequel?
It's a tough one.
I go with machete order. I like that one.
Machete
so
order
for
is
those
good.
of you who don't know, the machete order is said to be you start with 4, you go to 5, and you treat 1 being optional, but definitely 2 and 3 as an extended flashback of the Vader character, and then you go on to end it on Return of the Jedi.
So my
I
issue.
never heard that
Oh
one
yeah,
before.
it's a very valid one. My issue is everybody knows the twist now. Like when I was a little kid, I didn't know that Darth Vader was Luke's father until I saw the movie.
Yeah.
So and then obviously everybody knows that the prequel trilogy is about baby Darth Vader. Like it's no secret. So for me, if I'm going to show somebody who's never seen any Star Wars, it's going to be 4, 5, and 6 first,
Okay.
and then I'll do 1, 2, and 3, 7, 8, 9.
I think that's the way I would do it too, if to show for the first time, because to me, 4, 5, and 6, that's
That's the story.
the
That's
story.
the story, yeah.
That's the story. That's the story you want someone to see for the first time. That's the story you want someone to fall in love with these movies, and then you show them the sequel trilogy. Because you know what? More than likely, they might not like the prequel trilogy, and then they're never going to want to watch the originals, and you're going to be like, "Well,
But that's the best part.
Can't continue
I am
this."
also personally of the opinion that any work should be done in publication order. So my biggest gripe with the Chronicles of Narnia is that everything is presented in chronological order as opposed to publication order. I think when people talk about rewatching the multiverse, the MCU, they want to start with the chronologically first one, which I've lost track at this point, whether it's an event, the new Captain America or not.
It's
I
Captain
think it's
America,
better to
then
always
it's
watch
Captain
things-
Marvel.
Which one was it?
Captain America, then Captain Marvel.
Okay. I always believe that you should watch things in the order that stuff came in, and forgive my wife for being on the phone if you guys can hear her. They all say hi. No. Oh, yes. They're coming. They're all coming.
Not editing this out.
No, what?
Brendan's having an actual discussion with his wife during the podcast.
I
That's
want
why
to know she gets a credit on this one. No, everything should be done in the publication order because that was the original order that things were presented in. That's probably the way the author had the ideas pop into their head.
And if Anna ever pops back out on the podcast, she might get a producer credit like Melanie does.
I will let her know that.
All right, just let her. She got to at least do one episode though, so that's the rule.
What's Melanie at 3?
Easy. No, Melanie's
No.
not.
I'm not saying that in a negative light. It's more like I'm changing. No, because because those are good episodes. The ones when she
Melanie's
shows up,
done like
those are good
I
episodes.
think Melanie's done like
So
5-ish.
Okay.
But also Melanie. So for those of you guys who don't know, we have a good friend from the show who we interviewed at the beginning of MF Uncensored named David Keck. He does a show called Surviving Abuse, and David has just always been such a big supporter of us. He's constantly commenting on stuff we're talking. We've corroborated a few times. He was on the show again recently, and he did a live show on his Facebook page. Melanie came flying downstairs to have us go on to it. Not only did we have to, she was like, wear his shirt and I'll wear his hat. And like, he got us on, and like Melanie literally started podcasting on her phone while we were sitting in the living room. And she is probably I always tell her she's one of the best interviewers that I've ever seen. It's just trying to get her on the show.
I actually remember her. I think she texted me like, "Hey, we want to support the guys. Check this thing out." And I'm like, "Okay, let's see if I can fit this in."
I would love to have. So there's always talk about her and our friend Kristen doing a podcast about some adult things, but it has not. Sean's like, "Wait, what?"
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, they discussed thoroughly about doing a podcast about
Adulting?
adult things.
Adult things. This is MF Uncensored. You can say what you want.
I don't want to speak out of. I don't want to say it if I'm not 100%.
No, I think you're doing everything right. You're doing everything right there, Paul.
Is
but-
he?
Yeah, no, Melanie's still one.
Yes, because he's not putting words in his wife's mouth.
Nope.
But she won't listen, so she wouldn't know.
This is gonna be the one. This is gonna be the episode she listens to. I asked her the other day. I was like, "Do you read any of my articles on our website, themisfitfaction.com?" Shameless plug. She goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh my god, you don't." She's like, "I don't watch any of these shows." I was like, "I do so many other articles. For those of you guys who don't know, I have my Is Hard series, and as dirty as that sounds, it's basically insert topic here is hard. So we did an article on podcasting is hard, nutrition is hard, exercise is hard. So make sure you guys check those out.
Lots of things are hard.
Now they are. Thank you for pointing it out.
You're welcome.
It's cold in here. Mm-hmm. Anyway, are we on another topic? Are we still doing? This is the show that goes everywhere.
All right, we're on number 6.
All right, number 6.
We're almost done. The prequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. The merits of the prequel trilogy come up frequently in conversations. Did we need to see the path of Anakin Skywalker from such a young age?
No.
Did Qui-Gon need to die so soon? Did Obi-Wan fail Anakin? These are the questions.
We needed one movie.
I think what Lucas has said in response to this is that everybody wanted to see 3 movies of Vader beating up and killing everything. And that wasn't the story he wanted to tell.
He yells yippee in the Darth Vader, scourge of the universe, the most terrifying force, traumatized me as a child, gave me a fear of robots, even though I know he wasn't technically a robot, but as a 5-year-old, I thought he was a robot. Having him yell yippee, that's fucking Darth Vader.
Okay.
Does that make you more scared of him? That you're like, he was an innocent child?
So it doesn't, to me, I find that more entertaining that this was once a little kid who was like,
we were all little kids, but like...
No, really?
Yeah, really. Sean, learn biology, midichlorians.
I was a big kid. I don't know what you're talking about.
I grew up... I was born with a suit and tie, son.
Compared to some other childhoods we've read in media, or I've read recently in media, Anakin didn't have it that bad.
He was a slave.
Berserk is out there, man. That was messed up stuff. So Anakin had it easy.
No, my issue is if you had just done Revenge of the Sith, and just with a better script, you could have made it work.
I think it would have been too much information just to get in there. To do one movie.
But look at Solo or look at Rogue One.
Yeah, they sucked.
Rogue One didn't suck.
No, Rogue One was good.
Rogue One was
right.
It has one of the best Darth Vader scenes of all time.
Yeah, that's a scene.
Yeah, but that's the same kid going yippee.
No. Okay.
I know. I think Rogue One has the benefit of like, yeah, we know where it's all going, but how did we get there? And they had some really cool characters of how we got there.
But that's my point. We know where we're going.
But the whole point is you want to see what turned this kid evil. Yes, I agree with you. Seeing him say yippee in Phantom Menace.
It could have been done as one single movie
I
if it had been written better.
Maybe two.
Maybe two.
I think two at least.
He probably wanted to do the trilogy thing. That's why he was like, I'm going to do 3.
Money.
I don't think you need to find Anakin that young, maybe. I'll give you that. Because really, that movie's more about the setting up Palpatine, really, and why Obi-Wan is the teacher. You easily could have had, you wanted to show an inexperienced Obi-Wan. You don't really need Qui-Gon Jinn, even though he's a really cool Jedi. The only thing if you get rid of one, you miss out on Darth Maul, who was one of the coolest Sith after Darth Vader, really.
But they could have done, if they'd done 2 movies, they could have started like with an Attack of the Clones type movie where it was, still the reluctant teacher with the young Padawan, like, I wasn't really ready to take on somebody, but I had to. Like, they could have written that and had Darth Maul been the bad guy instead of Count Dooku. Again, what is up with the names in this universe?
I know.
Watch out, Dooku's coming. Do you know what his Darth Vader name or his Darth name was? Tyrannus.
Tyrannus, that was it.
Like they ran out of names.
Tyrannosaurus.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to just turn into a Power Ranger.
Use the Jedi Temple. Why not have Anakin be like super powerful? He doesn't know how to control it. You could have totally redo his backstory a bit to have a more interesting thing than, again, we have to go back to Tatooine because it's whatever.
Because there's
planet.
7 planets in this galaxy, apparently.
Yeah, you got to make the uncle thing work out, but like they're already half siblings. Like you literally could have made them full-blooded brothers, at some point, made it work some other way.
And that's why when you do the machete order, people will take out the first one.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the story does not change at all.
You're right.
You got me fired up, Sean.
I didn't get you fired up.
That's awesome.
You did this to me.
Yeah. This is what this is all about.
Shut up.
All right. Last and possibly least, we don't know. Number 7, parsec.
All right, we're going to end on a fun one.
A parsec is a measure of distance, not time. Fans have been trying to rationalize Han's boast for decades. Is Han lying, or is he talking about how he navigated close to black holes to navigate the Millennium Falcon over a shorter distance than the normal route?
So here's my issue with the parsecs. One, it was bad script writing when it first happened, right? It was purely an oversight. And people have been trying to rationalize it ever since. So first they did. There's a big theory that Obi-Wan Kenobi like literally gives him side eye, like you're full of shit, dude. And that was the rationale. Like, Han Solo's he's just being Han Solo. He's just talking shit. But then they tried to, again, in Solo, which was the most unnecessary Star Wars movie of all time, they tried to rationalize it where, this is a 12 parsecs? It's a 12 parsec rate, or 14. It's 14 parsecs, but he did it in 12.
Yeah.
And that was like his big boast. But that has nothing to do with how fast your ship is. But then it was like, it was so fast that it could go past black holes and this and that. Stupid.
I really triggered him with this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you actually did this to me. I hate you.
So with the 12 parsec thing, like I don't really that one I don't really have much of an opinion on. Like, okay, so you did it in 12 parsecs. So okay, I have no reference what the Kessel Run entails. I haven't seen Solo, if that helps at all with this discussion. About my ignorance.
You're better than the two of us.
So
not missing anything.
A parsec is a unit of distance, correct?
Distance.
All right, so
it's not time.
But he's like, is it a fast ship? You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? Should I?
No,
so he implied that his ship was so fast that it could do the Kessel Run in a shorter time, even though he then used a unit of distance. I think George Lucas has said, I just didn't know.
If you also listen to what he says it's the one who did the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Yeah, it could also be attained that 12 parsecs is the length of the Kessel Run, and he just somehow did it.
And that's what they tried
to rationalize.
I just assumed it was a unit of time. Then in this universe, they don't call them seconds. They don't call them minutes. They call them parsecs for whatever that means.
But the problem is,
he did it in 12 parsecs, and which is apparently incredibly fast for whatever this Kessel Run is, which is all I see in my head is some sort of slalom thing down a mountain when I hear Kessel Run, and that he happened to do this faster than other people. And that's also something we all know what the Kessel Run is too. It's like, is that like a secret smuggler spice route or something like that?
Yeah. The problem is when you use an actual scientific term in script, you got to know what that term means. So, like, if midichlorian could mean anything. Like, I could say midichlorian and you could be like, whoa, what's that? And I can make up an explanation. If he had made up like a unit of time or a unit of distance, and then had Obi-Wan just like look at Luke, who doesn't know anything because he's Luke, and just been like, oh, he means he did it really fast. Again, that was just, and I think George, what's up?
Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm actually for the first time looking up parsec, and I didn't realize it was legitimate.
It's a legitimate scientific term.
Units.
Yeah. So that's the problem. You use an actual term. This was all pre-internet though, so only people that like went to the library and read books knew this.
I'm trying to think when this actually became a thing. Like when
the internet existed.
Yeah. So
once the internet came out.
I'm sure Lucas is just like, you people need to get a life.
What's the in Robot Chicken where he's like, they apologize and he's like got like the bags of money.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all.
Or it's like William Shatner on Saturday Night Live just telling all the Trekkies, get a life.
Yeah, you think it's actually a really good Shatner.
Get a life.
Get a life.
Get a life.
Yeah. Who'd win in a fight? William Shatner, Captain Kirk at his peak, or Han Solo?
Han Solo.
Even in a fisticuffs?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Han Solo.
What, no weapons.
Dang it! I was gonna go. He was gonna shoot first.
No, I said no weapons. So
I'm gonna say Han Solo.
Who has won more fistfights? Captain Kirk.
Well, Kirk's been around longer. You've seen Kirk in more things than you've seen Han Solo.
I'm just saying.
No,
I'm just trying to be devil's advocate on this
one.
one.
Wrong, but.
That's a tough one.
I'm gonna give it to Han because we're talking about Star Wars right now. If we're talking about Star Trek, and maybe I would have given it to Kirk.
Well, so fun fact, Brendan. Before we decided on doing this topic for MF Uncensored, I was like, we should really do Star Wars versus Star Trek. But both me and Paul agree, it's like we don't know enough about Star Trek to really, do an in-depth episode on that. We could do the J.J. Abrams trilogy,
we could do a full episode on Kirk versus Picard.
We could.
Are you a Kirk or Picard?
Put a gun to my head, probably Picard, just because I like Patrick Stewart a lot.
I like Patrick. Also, we were raised on the Next Generation.
Yeah.
Well, that was our Star Trek.
When you say it like that, it's like I didn't watch it, but it was out when we were alive.
Yeah, when we were out.
The wisdom I've been told about the original Star Trek movies is that 4 was the best one, actually.
But sorry, Brendan. I didn't mean to.
Sorry, I forgot what the subtitle for Star Trek 4 is. The Way of the Future or
Voyage
something
Home.
like that. I forget
Voyage
what it's
Home.
called.
I think it's Voyage Home.
The one where they go back in time with the whales. Apparently, that's the best one according to my source, which is my dad.
Really?
Really?
I would think Wrath of Khan would be.
Wrath of Khan. It's got to be Wrath of Khan.
I haven't seen Wrath of Khan, so I can't actually tell. I've only seen the 4th one. That's the one that we had the VHS version of it for me to watch.
You've never seen the Wrath of Khan?
Brendan, I highly recommend that when you get an hour and a half to 2 hours of free time, Wrath of Khan.
That's Paramount, right?
Yes.
Is it on
Not anytime soon, then.
Oh, I don't know if it's on Paramount. I mean, Paramount owns Star Trek, so
it's a safe
that
bet.
would be the safe bet of where to find it. But what was I going to say?
Probably something Star Trek-y.
Probably. I don't remember now.
Wrath of Khan.
No, I don't remember.
Khan!
Oh, sorry.
How did that work?
But, fun fact. So, if Star Wars had never come out, Star Wars came out in 1977. Star Trek had been off the air for 5 years when Star Wars came out. The movie Star Trek didn't come out until 1979. If Star Wars had not come out, we would not have Star Trek.
No.
Nope.
We would not have Next Gen. We would not have any of it. I fully believe that.
You gonna die on that sword?
I'll die on that sword.
All right, who would win in a fight? Darth Vader or Dark Helmet?
Dark Helmet?
I don't know Spaceballs? Spaceballs?
Spaceballs, please tell me you've seen Spaceballs.
Thank you for the reference now. Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'm sorry. I'm giving it to Vader?
I'm going to give it to Vader also.
Of course you give it to Vader.
All right, who'd win in a fight? Lone Star.
The only thing Dark Helmet could do is go after Darth Vader's nuts, but he doesn't have any.
No, he still does. He had 2 kids.
Before he was born.
You don't see his balls light on fire. It's fine. Who'd win in a fight? Lone Star or Han Solo?
Oh my God, Han Solo.
Really?
Yes.
Lone Star has the Schwartz.
Are you serious right now?
He's got a lightsaber too. I think Lone Star would win.
No, stop yourself. You're just doing this now to just.
I fully believe that Lone Star.
From this one.
You're just doing this to drag the episode longer than it needs to be.
No, we were done 5 minutes ago. Lone Star. I think Lone Star would beat Han Solo in a fight.
Next thing you tell me, Barf would beat Chewbacca.
No, that's stupid.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Barf could beat an Ewok.
You are such a jackass. ass.
Am I wrong?
Anybody can beat an Ewok except for the
So
Stormtroopers.
All right, who'd win in a fight?
Stop.
No, I got one more. The Stormtrooper who hits his head on the door in episode 4, or the two guys who get their uniforms stolen.
In Spaceballs?
Yes.
So the guys who stole our uniforms.
Beat the shit out of us too. But then you got the guy who hits his head on the door.
No, it's the guy
The two guys, because it's 2 versus 1.
Okay, all right. But they got their asses kicked.
Or the guys in the desert with the combs.
Oh, that'd be a good one too. Yeah.
We ain't found shit.
All right, who would win in that fight?
Oh,
The guys with the
Jesus.
combs or the guys that Obi-Wan gets past? These aren't the droids you're looking for.
The guy with the combs.
He's got a stronger will, I think. Yeah, I think
he could talk to his boss. He could talk up to his boss. He's got,
That's the defining character.
he won't let the Force fuck with him.
No, I gotcha. So
And that is for our card of fights of characters nobody actually remembers.
Except for me and Paul.
so, all right, who'd win in a fight?
Oh, Jesus, Paul. Let's
Yogurt
go.
or Yoda?
Yoda!
That's fair.
You're not picking fair fights.
No, wait.
because he's just being-
Wait. No, I'm picking the parodies of each other. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yes, you're picking the parodies, but that's why it's so dumb.
No, I'm saying yogurt in Spaceballs, right?
Yes.
Versus Yoda strictly with the knowledge of him in Empire Strikes Back.
So you want old Yoda versus yogurt.
Yeah.
I still say Yoda.
You still say Yoda?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did yogurt do? He didn't do anything.
Lifted that statue.
Did
I'm-
he?
Yeah.
The ring is Bupkis.
So even better, he did it by himself.
Still don't know.
Okay. All right.
He
That's fair.
he does child labor, man. Those little guys, man, they were doing all the work.
But see, you're also saying that what did Yogurt do? He did the same thing Yoda did in Empire Strikes Back.
Did he?
What did Yoda do in Empire Strikes Back?
He sat on Luke's shoulders and did flips and stuff like that.
He didn't do the flips. He was on the he was taking the he lifted the X-wing. Like in all honesty, this is me being serious. All he did was lift the X-wing, and then he died 4 minutes into the next movie.
Okay.
So you can't compare feats unless you're looking at Yoda from the perspective of knowing he can lightsaber fight too. So you know what? You need to expand.
Brandon, please, for the love of God, help here, because I'm just.
I look. I really don't know. My training is to not interrupt when you guys are talking because I'm worried about the delay. But yeah, no, I don't care for those characters as much with the Spaceballs and whatnot. And so in my head, I'm like, these are not fair fights because nobody's gonna pick that sort of. You're almost better off trying to figure out like what's other. I was trying to think of a good one to fight. Like you're better off trying to like the 2 female leads. Let them fight. Who wins in that fight? Leia versus whoever the female lead is in
Princess Vespa.
Spaceballs.
In Vespa, yeah. See, if
That's
Vespa
probably a
didn't
better
only
fight.
have her one badass moment at the end, I would say her. But Leia has a ton of badass
Oh,
moments,
yes, that's too many badass moments.
but she is captured longer in A New Hope.
But I will say this: Dot Matrix would kick C-3PO's ass.
Oh my god, 10 trillion%. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, R2 would put up a fight.
Against Dot Matrix.
All right,
Yeah.
we might as well do a legit one for once. And I'm just going to throw this out there because it's also random.
I did so
Whoa,
many. I
wait
was
a
really
minute.
taking it seriously.
I'm sorry, you're talking about the Star Trooper that hit his head on the thing, or the 2 Star Troopers that got their asses kicked. I'm sorry, that's not like a good one. But you're better off going, who wins, Boba Fett versus Mando? There you go. There's one we have. Like I think
It's
the
Mando.
viewers might find interesting at least, so discussion wise.
It's Mando. It's Mando.
Mando?
Boba Fett's like 90. He's
No,
old.
I
he's,
mean like Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, you mean where he missed Luke Skywalker 92 times and then he fell into the Sarlacc pit the next movie 4 minutes in?
Hey, at least people know those characters.
Yeah. Boba Fett is a product of
Hold
the
on, wait,
fans.
I mean, we could use the version of Boba Fett where he's the one who kills Luke's parents. Or
Wait.
that's
Wait,
no,
what?
that's the theory. It wasn't the Stormtroopers.
Oh,
It was
you mean the aunt and
actually
uncle?
Boba Fett.
and Uncle Boba Fett.
Oh, because they were
And
just
uncle
because
Boba
they were
Fett did that, and that's why I
disintegrated.
was like captured alive this time in the second movie.
No disintegration. Yeah. I like how Brendan told us how to run our show.
He did not say that.
He's like, your arguments were not good.
they weren't.
I thought they were really
I'm trying to
creative.
subtly influence the show.
I thought it
It's
was
your
really
show, but
creative.
here's a subtle influence. You know, these are not the droids that you want to talk about fighting.
I want all the droids to fight. Screw them. All right, but that is going to wrap us up. If you guys are looking for more Brendan content, you can check him out on YouTube. It's blindbat8719. No eyes because it's a blind bat. And if you guys are looking Magic the Gathering type style and Battle Arena, I want to say
Magic Arena.
Magic Arena.
We'll
I
go
was
with
close.
Magic Arena.
I can say your name with the 8719 flawlessly, but when it comes to the description, I need
No
some
worries.
more.
No, again, it's Magic the Gathering on Arena, which would basically be if you you can download the program for free from their website on your PC, or you can download the app from either the Apple Store or the Samsung or wherever the Google's Play Store is, and just check out the game. It's free to play. It's maybe pay to win, but it's free to play for the most part. And yeah, go to the YouTube, type in my name, check out the videos that I put out there, and drop a comment if you found my channel from the podcast, please.
And Brendan, who would win in a fight? Magic
Yeah.
the Gathering cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Ooh.
That's a tough one. I know.
All right, so I'm gonna do the cop-out answer and say Yu-Gi-Oh cards, mostly because they have a higher power than the Magic the Gathering cards.
Yeah, you don't have.
How do you beat 11? Oh, we have 28,000 as a base.
Yeah, you don't have to.
that's
You don't have to tap them as you're using them
Though
too.
I have to laugh when you say that though, because I play Magic the Gathering all the time. My aesthetic is all about Yu-Gi-Oh though,
I love
to the
it.
point like you guys can't see this on the podcast per se, but I have like 4 Funko Pops of Yu-Gi-Oh characters, and I have like a bunch of pins from my whatever pin company I got them from. I think the aesthetic for Yu-Gi-Oh is a lot cooler, and with the cards and whatnot. But Magic's a better game, I'd say.
I'm not gonna lie, and I was gonna do a who'd win in a fight, but I'm not sure if you've ever seen this. I would say Card Captors is my favorite card-based anime/manga.
I've been trying to rewatch that in the Japanese for the longest time because I've only seen the English
the
stuff
English
that
dub,
they had
yeah.
on TV at the time. I read the manga.
Kids
The
WB
manga
song?
was very interesting exploration of different relationships, and I mean different relationships.
Oh,
I
indeed.
Yes, indeed, and some things that I'm not gonna say. But no, I love anything with tarot kind of cards, like the cloud cards are like. Those are freaking cool. And then they also do a thing. I'm not sure if they did it with if you got that far with the anime, but like after she captures all of them, she now has to convert them into like her
Yep.
Sakura cards.
Yeah, I saw that. But now that we've gone on every tirade possible and every single tangent, but this is going to wrap us up. If you guys are looking for more of our content, you can find us on social media, The Misfit Faction or MF Uncensored, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow. Check out our website for all of our merch and our news and reviews and articles. And if you want more Sean in your life, check out Cinematic Adventures or Your Mom's Diary.
Wow.
If you want more of me in your life, get a therapist. But you can find me on Multiverse Fancast for the most part for Roddy. But that's going to wrap us up for today. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Brendan.
And we'll see you guys next time.
May the force be with you.
Woohoo!
Or the Schwartz, whichever. Some people like